All right, we're live on YouTube and we're gonna be live here on Instagram. Comment Jumbo for the recipe. There we go, and let's pin it. There we go. Perfect. Hello. Oh, let me get you set up over here. Hello, everybody. How we doing? The hell's the cat doing? How we doing today on today's Food Friday? Let me know if you can hear me. We have the comment Jumbo for the recipe. Perfect. So we're live over here on Instagram. We're live over here on YouTube. And before we get started, I don't know if I've ever showed you this, but this thing is amazing. I can't stop drinking this stuff. It's no sponsorship at all, but I just figured it's like a protein water. It's very good. But essentially, we ain't here to drink protein water. We're here to make some food. So on Food Friday, if this is your first time here, if this is your, I don't know, we've done this for, I feel like 2 years. We're going to make a quick and easy meal, less than 25 minutes, hopefully. Maybe it's going to be longer because, you know, I can get to talking. But essentially, I'm going to show you how you can do this. Who the hell thinks that they can call me right now? What the hell? They're calling me right in the middle of my damn live stream? I don't think so. I feel like that always happens. Every time I go live, somebody always calls me. And it's like I'm still getting election calls. But what are you going to do? But essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to make a jambalaya. The way that we're going to do this is I got some celery. And so first, let me show you how we're going to do this. So a lot of times, what is a jambalaya? Maybe if you've heard from, well, let me give a little preface. It's one of the meals whenever I was a chef. So one of the days when I was a chef, I was going to get myself, gonna make me sit in the office all day. What the hell? Oh, we are getting some technical difficulties here. What is going on here? Yep, and it froze. Nice. What in the hell happened? What in the hell? Ay, ay, ay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's try this again. All right, let's see if we can try this again. No, it's still... What is going on here? There we go. There we go. Is we gonna... Technical difficulties, if I've ever seen one. Holy smokes. All right. There we go. Let's try this live stream. Let's try it again. Now people are gonna be like, what are you buzzing me for? All right, so we had little technical difficulties. That's the thing. I swear, every time we go live, there's always something that comes up. Whether or not the internet wants to short out or whatever it is. Something always comes up, and I swear to God, it's like every single time. But we are live now. Hopefully, it's a little bit more stable. So, we're making jambalaya. Essentially, what we got to do is called a mirepoix. So, a lot of times with a mirepoix, but when you're doing it in the southern way, it's usually carrots, or a traditional mirepoix is a carrots, celery, and onions. And so, what we are going to do is do it a little bit different. We have celery, peppers, celery, pepper, and onions. And so the reason we do this is to make it the base, right? And this is a very simple meal. Essentially what we have here, and if you want the recipe, make sure you comment Jamba, send it over to you. It's really gonna take you like 25 minutes, to be honest. So one of the ways that we're gonna do this is you get a can of our diced tomatoes. You have 1 to 2 peppers, depending on what you really like, how many peppers you like. And we also have a couple stalks of celery. And you know what? I like using this already in the bag because I feel like when you get those big ass celery stalks, you end up losing it kind of in the, I would say you don't lose it. It kind of ends up getting thrown away because you don't use it all. So how we're going to do this, using about 3 to 4 of these celery stalks. And look at this. What the hell? Look at that one. what we got going on here. Let me zoom you down here. So this is, and then I'm going to use, you could use a red onion or you could use a white. It's really technically going to be up to you. But essentially, that is the, let's see if you can get a nice little view of this here. And it always buffers too. It always like tries to zoom in, tries to zoom out. But essentially, this is where we're at. I'd say a couple things. And again, if you want the recipe, comment Jamba and I'll send it on over. But how we're going to do this as well is you need a meat. So a lot of times maybe people don't like seafood, and you could use sausage, you could use turkey sausage, you could use sausage, you know, really whatever. Jambalaya is just more or less, you have fish, shrimp, pork, sausage, whatever you want to do, or you could do it vegetarian and it would be just as well. So let me show you how we're going to do this. I'm going to do, the cat's waiting for something. So I'm going to use the rest of I have two sausage, I have two Italian sausage links. And so essentially that is what I'm going to use for my base and for my meat. So just like any other thing, if you're ever cooking anything that involves meat or anything that involves veggies, you always want to brown the meat first, right? And I think a lot of times this is where people go wrong when they start cooking, is because they heat up a pot, they throw the veggies in there, they throw the meat in there, and then you drain it all out with the grease, and then you end up throwing away all of your flavor. And that's not what we want, right? We want to be able to hold on to this flavor. So let me move this out of the way so YouTube, you don't yell at me. And let's get ourselves going. So make sure that you're always starting with a sharp knife. Now this is, I always find like in cooking, if anybody knows in the chat, what is this? I don't know. It always blurs us out. So what is this? This is a sharpening steel. And essentially, if you ever use it, you always want to have it at an angle here. And what this actually doesn't sharpen your knife, believe it or not. It actually edges the knife. But I always encourage you to do 3 to 4 passes on your knife edger before you start cooking. And that way you have some people hate that sound, some people are like, oh my god. But make sure that you always wipe it off whenever you're done, because you are essentially getting metal shards right there on your knife. So I got this, I'm heating it up, and essentially what I want to do here with the celery is that I want to be able to cut it in half, and I'm not really looking for too fine of chops. That's honestly why I like buying it already like this, is because you could just kind of just nice and easy, especially if you don't have a lot of time, you're just going right down the list, nice and easy rough chop, right? And so what you're looking for is roughly about 1/3 cup of each of these vegetables. And so like I always say, it's like a version of the mirepoix. And whenever I was a chef and a sous chef at the restaurant, essentially this was one of the things that we had to make almost every single day, because people just loved it so much. We would use andouille sausage, shrimp, and a bunch of other Cajun style flavors. Now this comes from like a Cajun style, and you can see I'm not really doing too much with these peppers. I'm just giving them a nice rough chop, a nice rough dice. I'm not looking for uniform, because again, this is kind of supposed to be like that. It's almost like when you think of like a soup in some regards, right? And so I want you to think, whenever you're using your knife, make sure that you're always using the back end of your knife, right? I think a lot of times when we go to cooking, you try to stab somebody, right? We're not trying to stab. Everybody always tries to use the front of their knife. You actually get more control with the back end of the knife. So it's something to consider whenever you are chopping your vegetables. So we have roughly 1/4 cup of our celery, roughly 1/4 cup of our peppers. And let me show you, our famous onion trick, right? When you cut this onion, make sure that you have a sharp knife, and you do cut it in one side. I like cutting 1/2 and then the other half, getting rid of all this. Cut it in half so that now you can dice your half moon, right? So once you have your half moon, I always skim that first layer. I would always get yelled at when I was a chef. They would say, Nick, you're wasting too much onion. I'm like, you know what? No. So even here, this is where you would use the top of your knife, right? To kind of score your onion all the way down. And again, using the back end to do your rough chop all the way through. Now, again, this is nice and simple. I'm not looking for anything too crazy. And that is the vegetables that we are going to use for this recipe. And so now that the pan is heating up, I do have, if you're using any sausage, now again, if you're not somebody who eats meat or eats any type of protein like that, again, you could just use this as a vegetable base and just use it with, just don't use the meat, right? But if you do have, you are using meat, I would essentially say make sure that you remove the casing if you're using sausage, if you don't have a bulk sausage, because we do not want the casing in there at all. So that is something that make sure that you keep in mind. And so if you use any type of fish or shrimp as well, like a traditional jambalaya, you would want to save that for the end, right? And that will let you know when to put that in. And that's why you comment the word jamba, and I'll send you over the recipe through the DMs. And if Jenny, if you're here, I put you up on the stories. Jenny made one of our peanut butter banana. What was it? It was the peanut butter oatmeal banana. I know that was a long one. It's the peanut butter oatmeal banana bars. And you actually made them better than me. So if you're watching this, shout out to Jenny. She crushed it. And then actually said that her family actually liked it, enjoyed it. So if you go back, I think we have the recipe somewhere, but if not, you have to wait and stay tuned eventually. So shout out to Jenny for making the recipe and making it better than me. So essentially, as you can tell, I have this already hot and ready to go. And I want you just to crush up the meat. Now I use a traditional spatula. I don't know if I have that one thing where you can actually brown the meat and just stab it. I think it's been so long, I haven't been a personal chef in so many years. I don't even know where all my tools are. Ah, here it is. Actually, I probably should use this. You ever see this tool? If you're ever trying to break up meat. Look at this. This is a cool little device right here if I've ever seen one. Right? And so you just stab it like so. And it gives you the ground beef, right? So I do not have this one on my Amazon store. I will say that. This is not on the Amazon store. But always brown off your meat first. And the reason why, and a lot of times you're going to find that you see the fond, right? You see, especially here, see how it's kind of sticking to the pan? You kind of want that. I mean, you don't want it all sticking to the pan, but again, it's not the worst thing in the world because you're going to be using the vegetables right here to take off that fond and give you more flavor into your jambalaya, because that's what it's all about. It's all about flavor. Now let me know in the chat, does anybody have any questions? Do you guys like jambalaya? Hopefully you do if you're sticking around. But I will say it is one of the easiest meals that you can make because, again, I have, what is it? This brand Mexican rice. I don't know if you can see this Instagram. It's the Vigo Mexican rice. Now, if we look at the back, again, no fat, 200 calories per cup. I mean, again, what you're going to do, the only bad thing about these are a lot of sodium, these little package rices. But again, if you're looking for something quick, you're looking for something easy, you're looking for something to get yourself going, this is going to be very good for you. Makes it cut. And I like the seasonings that they put on here. I think this is a really good brand for seasonings as well. And let's be real. If anybody's ever tried to cook rice from scratch, you know it takes all day long. It'll take you 25 minutes just to cook the damn rice. So that's why I always say, if you can find some cheaters and some ways to prepare it, why not do it that way, right? Let's be real. So I have this browning off. We're getting the fond ready. Well, the cat was waiting for her food drop this whole entire time. So, and remember, we have different themes for this Food Friday. I don't know if anybody's seen that. We were talking. I should probably highlight that a little bit more. But each week we do something a little different for Food Friday. The first week was the copycat, so we do copycat favorites. Last week was the let me know if anybody tried that. The broccoli and cheese soup with the bread bowl. We did that last week. This week is the quick and easy 25-minute meals or less. And then next week will be our first rendition of Feline Friday. What the hell does that even mean? It means we're going to try to make some healthy, well, I wouldn't say healthy, but some homemade pet snacks. So we're going to try to make some homemade dog and cat treats. We'll see how it goes. It might not work. The only person that we know to be the judge is this girl right over here. So if she eats it, we know it's good. If she doesn't, because she eats everything. So if we make some homemade pet snacks next week and it does not bode well, she'll be the one that let us know. But I've been already looking up recipes, and if you have any recipes that you do for your dogs or your cats or whatever, send them to me, and maybe we can use them for the live stream. Because I feel like we're gonna have many recipes to choose from. I don't want to just make one. So if you have anything, because I know the community, we all have animals, we all have cats, we have dogs. Let me know. We're going to try to make up some recipes and see if it works. And then we got the taste tester over here to essentially try it out herself. Ain't that right, Kitty? Oh, she don't care. She's like, I got my food. So now that we have our meat browned, this is when I want you to throw in your veggies. And so again, we're using a third of a cup of onion, a third a cup of celery, and a 1/3 cup of our peppers. And essentially what we want to do here is we don't want to brown these peppers, we just want to sweat our vegetables with the meat. And so essentially we can bring some flavor into the meat, right? And into our mixture. And so one of the things that I really want you to think of is this is probably the only time you're really cooking this, right? Because whenever we start to get our vegetable stock, really set it and forget it. That's what it comes down to. So it shows you how easy this essentially is to make. You brown off your meat, you put your vegetables in there, you let them cook down for about 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to throw in a can of fire roasted tomatoes. And the best part is with this is you can have all of these veggies already prepped up ahead of time. And so say it comes down to dinner time and you need to go ahead and make something that is quick, nutritious, tastes good. You could probably get this together in less than a half hour, which is the whole idea of the stream, right? So this is the whole idea of the stream, and you can see, look at this. I can already smell it, and to be honest, what is really crazy is that you don't really need to season it either. I'll be totally honest. With the flavor from the veggies, the sausage, the rice, you don't even need to season it. Well, you definitely don't need to throw any salt in it because of all that. But I will say it is almost spot on, and if you want to, you can, right? I'm not gonna say no. You could throw a little pepper, you could throw a little hot sauce, but I will say if you are adding any shrimp or you're adding any fish, you want to save that to the very end, unless you want to have rubbery shrimp that you can throw off the wall and you have that. Save that to the very end whenever you're about to serve the food, because that's just gonna be. I think a lot of times that's where people go and make the mistake. They'll throw scallops, they'll throw the shrimp, they'll throw all the stuff in here while it's still cooking, and you still got a half hour to cook it, and then next thing you know, you go to take a bite out of it, and you're like, what the hell? I didn't. So don't do that, please. Save your fish till after. The sausage, the peppers, all that stuff, that's one thing, but yeah. Please don't do that. But now that we have this browned off, I'm going to throw in some roasted red peppers, just because I realized that they are here. Oh, and they're already in oil. Holy smokes. You know what? I'm just going to throw it all in there whole. The reason I just threw that all in there whole is because I'm going to use this little smasher rather than put it all over the cutting board and have to ruin the cutting board. And would you look at that? It worked perfectly. And so look at that. See? So now that this is all browned up, I throw one whole can, and you got to get the small can. It could be any brand. I don't really care. You shouldn't either, but it's got to be the 14.5 ounce can. So 14.5 ounce can, you throw that in there. And this is where I like to just stir everything together. And to be honest, I like to throw in the rice at this point too. So let me just show you. Now that I have it like so, this is, I throw the rice in there. You might ask, why are you throwing the rice in there right on top of the vegetables? That's a very good question. The reason that I throw it on there, and honestly, always look, depending on what rice. So I know I do this for 25 minutes, but just make sure that you cook this according to what is on there. So I like doing this just to get the flavor throughout all of the vegetables, right? Just combining flavors, really. This is kind of why I like to do this, is so that whenever, right? So here we go. So I like to combine all of those flavors, and then I throw one full veg stock. You could do chicken stock, whatever. One full container. And essentially what this is going to do is you can put a lid on it. And that is pretty much it. Now you would just cook this for roughly 20, let me just make it on here, for roughly 25 minutes. And if you're serving this immediately, you would start to cook at the end of 5. I would actually set it to 20 minutes if you're cooking this like immediately and you have shrimp or you have other fish, because at the last 5 minutes, that's whenever I would start my shrimp. And that way you can time everything that this is going to be done, your shrimp's going to be done, and then you can put it on top, everything's served, everybody's happy, you don't have to throw it against the wall and people are playing fucking tennis or playing pickleball with your damn shrimp. And I know some of you are doing that because I've seen professionals in the kitchen do it, right? They're sitting there fucking, I'm like, how long are you going to cook this shrimp for? I mean, I can bounce it off the damn pan. You should really only cook shrimp for like 3 to 4 minutes. And to be honest, I don't even like shrimp. I'm not a big shrimp person. That's also why I don't put it in here. But we stir this, and this honestly, this makes really good meal prep food too, right? Because this can actually stay, as long as you cool it down right, this can actually stay in the fridge for 3 to 4 days, even though it's so good. But I always overcook seafood on accident. I bet you do. Well, now you learn. Now you know, right? That's the thing. Now we know. Now you learn. Which, you've gotten better, right? You can only get better. That's why I think cooking, everybody always kind of, that's why I do these streams too, right? Is that we find recipes, we see recipes online, we save them, we hardly ever use them, and then when we go to actually use them, it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually pretty good. Or it's like, oh my gosh, this didn't even work. Where the hell did they get that? And a lot of things we got to watch out now, because a lot of these recipes that people are posting are straight from AI. And you know the AI does not, essentially, AI can't cook, right? It can tell us, oh, this goes together and that goes together, and then you try it. We tried some AI recipes, and oh my God, they did not fucking work. Maybe it was just how we did it, but who knows. But that is very simple, and this is really all we got to do. We just got to set it on here. Actually, I should put it on this one, just because it's bigger. And now I just got to cover, I'm going to cover this, and that's it. And that, my friends, is very simple, right? And that, I guess, technically took less than 25 minutes. But what I do want to show you is, because we're not done, we ain't quite done yet, is how, this over here, is, where was it? I have this, maybe I don't have it. Oh, yeah. these things right here. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this. The digital thermometer. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is like this is like cheating. I totally forgot I had this. I forgot my girlfriend gave this to me for Christmas. But if you're ever cooking meat or anything like this, you could stick this thing into the meat, into the oven, set it and forget it, because there's a Bluetooth in here. It goes to your phone. I'm gonna have to show you how to use this one of these days, but I totally forgot I had this. I was looking at that and said, oh my God, I wonder if you guys have, let me know if in the chat if you've ever seen one of these before. The digital thermometer, Bluetooth wireless digital thermometer. Again, technology, right? Damn technology. So we will be using that come, well, I guess it wouldn't be next week, but it would be eventually. Actually, week 4. Because week 4 is, oh yeah, and if anybody has any crazy recipes that they've had or they've tried or that they've seen online, I'm going to try some of these influencer recipes, and that's what we're going to make at the end of the month. And so I'm kind of curious to see if any of them actually turn out to be any good. You get people all the time, here, eat my crumble cookie that's not crumble, and it's just like, you have it, you make it, and you go, what the hell? And that's not what this recipe is, because this recipe is good, right? I don't want to be talking crap on some of those people. But this recipe for the jambalaya, oh my gosh. I tell you what, this might be your favorite food. I'm just going to put it out there. This might be your favorite food after it's all said and done. And the only way you'll know is if you try it yourself, right? You got to try it and see what happens. So essentially, now that we have this, I want to be able to show you a couple different techniques here while we have time, is especially with your onion. So we're going prep school here. Let me bring this down. We got prep school 101. So with this half moon, essentially what I want you to think of, let me get my sharper knife here. When you go into dicing, let me move this. Business whenever I'm getting the knife kit out, right? I have one, not digital, not wireless. Used it to check the Thanksgiving turkey. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? It's like, oh, I forgot about these. Those digital wireless, actually, I tell you what, that's why I really brought it up, is because for Thanksgiving, it's gonna be a game changer. No more opening up the oven, checking to see if it's done. It'll sit there and sync it to your phone. Really, they should be sponsoring me for sitting there shouting out their shit the whole time. But, whatever. Maybe eventually. Let me get this right about here. So if we see this half moon, right? A lot of times people go into, you want to slice it, right? And then dice it. Well, what if I just want to teach you, maybe you already know this, is that when you're going right here, make sure that you're slicing it, and I'm ambidextrous, so maybe if you're not left, don't do this. But when you're here, I want you to think you go around the edge, right? You go around rather than going straight down. So I think you want to, what I'm trying to say is the reason your onions come out the way they do is because whenever you go to dice them, you slice that instead of going at it at an angle, if that makes sense, right? You go all the way down rather than slicing it down. So now that you're here, you score it all the way. And so that way you have, it's still connected here, right? It's still connected here, but you have all of these little mini slices, and therefore it's not going all over the place. But even there, you could do another hack, is that you cut it in half, and then now, not only do you have all these little slices, but it's all bunched up together, right? And then whenever you go to slice it and dice it, you have a nice and easy fine dice, right? And I always like to save that. You don't need to go all the way to the end. But then you have these different pieces, right? I guess I could have went a little bit further. But again, with these little small dices, right? And so that's why if you're ever really trying some other some other hacking and some other tips, you could always make sure that you have a sharp knife, right? That is very important for whenever you're doing these things. And it saves you time from having to sit there and just rough chop. And that, if you're somebody who always suffers like Nick, well, I always cry when I'm cutting onions. Well, 9 times out of 10, that's why. Is because what you end up doing is you're trying to basically annihilate it, right? You're trying to hack it to death. When really all we need to do is have a sharp knife, keep it quick, keep it nice and steady. Some people, and let's just show you right here, is that whenever you're cutting, I want you to think you're doing this. Now, if you cut with your hands, I just throw it in a food processor. Shelly, that's one way of doing it, but I think every time I throw it in a food processor, my eyes water. I start crying like a teenage girl, right? I'm over here just I'm already like my eyes are watered just by messing with it. So let me know, Shelly, is that what happens whenever you do it? Like, I mean, if I throw it through the food processor, I'm like, oh my God. But even here, right, it's like I'm not crying as much as I thought I would. But because that is from the sharp knife. So that's why if you do ever want to test yourself without cutting your fingers, you use the top of your knuckles and rest it on the blade and see how you never actually chop your fingertips off. I could sit there, I can look at you. Let's see. Let me show off real quick. Is that I can actually look at you and slice this pepper because of the trust of the finger, right? And that's where a lot of people are like, well, what do you mean? I can sit here and cut nice and easy, nice and small, as long as you have that trust. I mean, you know, I don't cry. You don't cry? Jesus. So that's why I always encourage, like, if you really want to get better at cooking, use the knuckles right here, right? If you use your knuckles, you actually never chop off your fingertips. And again, sit there, you know, right? But the thing is you actually realize when you're doing it, you got that little gap. So it's a lot of trust, and that's why I always, whenever I would teach new cooks and new chefs knife skills, essentially I would always say, she said, oh, no, not me. I would always tell them, trust it. My mom's the same way. She's been a cook her whole entire life, but she would never, she's like, Nikki, I would never cut anything like that in my life. And really, a lot of times it stems because we have dull knives, right? And so, like, if you could trust yourself to do this, but not even, you know, like so, it just makes it a little bit more uniform, because even from here, this is how, whenever we do our peppers, we can dice the peppers and have it as a uniform dice, and it just saves us time in the kitchen, right? I don't know. I always find that good knife skills are good to have, but they're not really a requirement to cook, believe it or not. It's just really, do you want to make things a little bit easier, a little bit quicker? That's just totally optional, up to you. Really, I probably should just do like a whole knife skill day. Why don't you throw it? What kind of knives do you like? Honestly, my girlfriend got me this this Japanese blade. But I will say that there's a difference. That's actually a very good, question. So if you look at the difference here, right? So this, actually I got 3 of these knives. So you can see this one right here. This is a German knife, right? And this is actually like a little bit more solid, right? Like this is solid. Now, if you look at this, now yes, this has multiple layers, but this is actually a very thin knife. So you wouldn't want to cut anything that is like, these are very good for vegetables. This would be good for like meats. I don't know if you can really see the difference on it. I don't know if you can really tell. But this is a Japanese steel. Is meant to be a lot more, I don't know, flexible whenever you're cutting things, because you think you're cutting sushi, you're cutting vegetables, whereas this German blade is more or less like kind of like an all-around chef's knife. And so I really prefer, how do you say the I can't even say it. You can see the difference. Oh, you can't see the difference. Oh, okay, cool. Is this. And you can see it because I like the layers of the steel.
as you can see how that is. It makes it very, I would say, strong. But again, this holds the blade, the edge, a little bit more, comparatively speaking, to this, because you can just hack this up. But what a lot of people don't realize, if you're using, I don't know if you see this cutting board that I have. You know, I had these custom made for my clients. I was going to sell them until I realized that they were $300 to make. And I said, there ain't nobody going to buy these. So I just gave them out to my clients. And we still have a bunch of them. Maybe we'll give out one for a giveaway for Christmas. Actually, you know what? We probably should do that. We probably should give out one of these for a Christmas cutting board. But if you have expensive knives, and this is one thing I always try to tell people, is like, if you're going to go out and buy a set of expensive knives like so, you got to make sure that you have an equally as good cutting board, right? So this is 100% maple. This is industrial. It's going to last you forever, really, if you take care of it. And the reason you want to cut on something that is natural, like wood like this, is that it actually saves your knife, right? I know I have... A lot of people use like these things, these little mats. See how thin these are? This will ruin your blade in no time because you're basically cutting on the damn countertop, right? So it's like, those are not recommended. I have one, like this one is the one that you see a lot in cheap boards, will ruin your knives 100%. And this, like, I've used the hell out of this all the time, but this right here, if you see it, it's plastic, right? And so every time you cut out of this, you're getting microplastics in your food. And if you've seen anything about health recently, that's the new buzzword, is the phthalates. So wood is a very good substitute, right? And so that's why, and it's going to last you forever. So maybe I probably should get rid of one of these for maybe a Christmas or like a Black Friday giveaway. These are $300, and I mean, actually, when I sent it, I sent one to my grandma, and it cost $90 to send. So if I do give one out, just remember, you are a very lucky winner, and you are and we appreciate you in the community. But don't be like the last lady that won something from me and then ended up saying, yeah, let's not even go there. But I have this boiling, and you can start to smell a lot of the jambalaya, right? You're waiting for that rice to cook down. I'll show you another one since we're getting into it. This is my other custom cutting board that I had made. And so this has my logo. And this is actually, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those epoxy tables. These people, I don't know how the hell they made this, but they did some sort of epoxy into the cutting board. So this right here is like the epoxy, and then this is the board. And if you can see, they did it so well that the wood is actually in the Healthy. This is all, I have no idea how they did this. I don't even use this. This thing cost me way too much money. And I just have it stored away. But that thing's nice. So we got a whole bunch of these, and just to kind of show, I just want to show off, their nice craftsmanship. And they are actually that's from John Malecki. He is a Pittsburgh-based designer. He has over, I think, 2 million followers on YouTube, and I had no idea until I asked him, can you build this for me? He's like, are you coming here from YouTube? I said, I don't even know. What? You on YouTube? Sure enough, I realized that he was like some YouTube guy. So shout out to John. Thanks for the nice cutting boards. But now that we have this all said and done, let's see, since we're showing you some other things, what was I getting into my bag of tricks? Hold me to it, community. Please hold me to this. You should hang it up on the wall. Don't hide it. It's a nice. Honestly, Shelly, I probably should. And you know what? I probably should. And I want you guys as a community to hold me accountable to make our recipe book, or to make a cookbook. I got years of recipes from me being a personal chef. And if you guys are interested, I can turn this into some sort of cookbook or some sort of ebook or something to really help you guys out. I got so many damn recipes in here that I'm sure you guys would find very, because I don't really cook anymore. Oh, I only cook for one person. He's an NHL athlete, and that's only in the summer. But I have all of these recipes that I think would make a very good type of cookbook. So be on the lookout. So hold me accountable, people. Hold me accountable. That's the only way I'm going to do it, is if you hold me accountable. You guys held me accountable for whenever I was doing the for the food, or for actually Food Friday, and for the Sunday yoga classes. So hopefully we could do that as well. I know that's gonna take a very long time, I will say that, but I think it'll be worth it. We'll put it all together in a recipe book. And so this is why, over here, we'll get back to here, you should make a cookbook so I can buy one, Shelly. I appreciate that. And honestly, that's why one of the days I'm going to compile all the recipes that I make here. If you already didn't comment Jamba, I'll send you the recipe to what we're making right now. But when you are making vegetables, right, and you're chopping vegetables, don't just like kind of, I know some people just cut a half a pepper and then throw it back in the fridge. What the hell are you doing? Chop it up, dice it up, and save it for the next time you go to make a recipe, so you can take some of these steps out of your, you know what I mean? So get yourself some little bags. So right here, I already have for dinner tonight, well, that's my dinner tonight, is that I have already sliced peppers. So if I want to make a salad, I already got diced peppers if I want to do whatever the hell with them, you know? And so I always say, what is it? Work smarter, not harder. Isn't that the analogy? And so, yeah, if you comment Jamba, I'll send you over the recipe in my automations that my lovely girlfriend loves making, right? She goes extra on, she puts her time and effort into those recipes that get sent to you. So give Ashley a nice shout out and say thanks. So we have, you know what? I'm just going to throw this into the, holy smokes. So that is boiling. And let me show you what it looks like over here real quick. Let me show you. Is that we're going to bring you on over here. So, oh my gosh, that is burning up. So let's turn this down a bit. Holy smokes. So that it's not... So I don't want it boiling like that. So bring it to a simmer, but that's because we had the... Wow, that is so hot. As you can tell, see how it does have a little bit of grease on here. And this is why you don't want to put the... I mean, this is hot as hell. I didn't realize it was going to get that hot. Wow. But yeah, that's boiling out of control. So you don't want it that hot. You want it kind of at a simmer. And so to make sure, that's what happens when I get to talking. See? I get to talking. And then next thing you know, this stuff's boiling out of damn control. So this is boiling out of control. But as you can tell, it's starting to come together. And you can start to see what we're actually getting ourselves into. So this is a very easy recipe, a very good recipe, and something that I encourage you guys to try. And you can make it very simple. Just make sure that if you do throw any type of fish, like I was saying earlier, that you do throw it at the end, 15 minutes at the very end. And then, yeah, you have yourself a nice and easy jambalaya. So make sure you comment. And this is really a cheap one too. I think less than 20 bucks, 30 bucks, you can have a full meal. So you really can't beat that. And I think that is very important. Oh, Skate Angel, how you doing today? I haven't seen you in here in a while. Hope everything is doing well with your skating and your hip and your knees and all that good stuff. But I want to show you, before we're done, remember this drink I was talking about? You guys aren't going to believe me, and I know let me just move this over here. So, this right here is a protein drink. So this right here is a protein drink that's like a protein water. You see this? And so I know a lot of times people are like, Nick, protein drink? What the hell do you mean by that? Protein shake? No, I really mean protein drink. And so what this essentially is, if I can find, I should use a shaker, but whatever. I'm using one of these little cups. Need to leave for it. Keep it up. I'll be back for the next live. Love it. Well, the next live is going to be Sunday. So hopefully people are tuning into our Sunday live streams for our yoga. Remember, we do that every Sunday at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. So one of the things that I found out with this is that they say pour, shake, watch, and drink, right? So if you're not using a shaker bottle, you got to make sure Sunday is good. Oh, you bet. I better see you there Sunday at 10 a.m. We got yoga and Pilates, 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of Pilates, and that goes for everybody, right? Anybody that's watching this, if you've ever wanted to do yoga, wanted to do Pilates, you know we do everything on this channel. I teach you how to cook. I teach you how to do yoga. I teach you how to do some exercise. You know, we try to conquer all of it here, and essentially, because that's what I bring to my coaching. So I want to at least show you how and what I do. So we got 1 scoop of this, right? And so I like to throw a little bit of water in there first, just to kind of shake this up a bit. And you can see it just turns into this like foam almost in a way. It almost looks like Nesquik, if you remember that. So I'd like to throw this in here just to shake it up, because what I realized is that if you fill up the whole water with this and then you shake it, it stays in these clumps. And to be honest, you're going to be, and if you're curious, it does not taste like a protein shake, which you would think it would, but it does not taste like a protein shake. It tastes like water with a little bit of like extra. What the hell? So that's 25 minutes. That scared the shit out of me. So we have this, and I honestly recommend this. If you're somebody that doesn't really like the milky protein shakes, and you always drink it with water anyways, try this. I think you would really benefit. And honestly, these damn companies should start paying me because I advertise their stuff. But I only like to show you what I think is good, because a lot of these products out here are fucking horrible. And let me know in the chat if you've had some of those products and thought that they were ugh. Like my client, he got me him and his wife got me a Halloween bag full of these Quest protein. Let me show you. So like these. This is, appreciate it. These though are actually kind of good. I don't like the chickpea protein snacks are kind of gross. These ones, I don't know what the hell this is. That chip is pretty gross. This one could be better. It's not like it's when you think about what makes it protein, right? When you look at the back of these, they actually put protein powder on the top of them. So let me know if you've ever had any of these like kind of protein fortified chips before. 19 grams of chips in the back of here, right? When you think about it. This, I don't really like these. I don't like these ones at all. But some of the other ones, they do work. And so I always like to just stick to old-fashioned fucking Planters peanuts. The Thai chili ones are good. Yeah, I do like the Thai chili ones. So let me show you. Oh, what the hell did I do with my... Okay. Look at... Oh my gosh. You want to talk about perfect timing here. Woo! Wow, this is hot. So let me spin you around right before our call here. Look at this. Right, we got that vegetable, we got the rice. That's gonna fog up my lens, but I'll tell you what, This is exactly what we're looking for. You want it kind of hearty. And again, you could cook this all the way down. Let's sit there. Now you could cook that all the way down until it's just a rice. It's totally optional. It fogged up my glasses. That's fogging up my damn glasses. But you could cook this down to it's just really rice and meat and have no real like kind of liquid base. Or you could just sit there and really just always have a liquid base by adding a little bit of water until the rice is. This is going to be delicious. One thing that I do recommend is that, however, if you do want a little brothier, make sure that you turn it off and you keep the lid on. Because what is the whole point of keeping the lid on? Is to keep the steam in there. Why? Because the steam is water, right? When water evaporates, it turns into steam. And so essentially what we want to do is we want to take it off of the heat and then just allow it to stay in this position, right? And again, it's going to soak up a little bit of the mixture. It's going to soak up a little bit of that water mixture, but I will tell you what, it will keep it a little bit more on the brothy side. If you don't, I actually almost prefer it when it's just rice. So let me know whenever you make it. If you do make it, tag me and I will feature it on my stories. So if you want the recipe, make sure you comment Jamba and I will send it over to you on my the automation with the recipe. I'm not sending you the recipe. The automation is sending you said recipe. Kat, what are you seeing over there? Yeah. Are you playing with the ball? Yeah. Awesome. So, that, my friends, is our Food Friday. So, we did our jambalaya. We made it in less than an hour. It really only takes about a half hour. But one of the things that I will keep in mind, or that I would say keep in mind, is if you do use traditional jambalaya where you're throwing any type of fish or seafood or shrimp, save that for the very end. Do not cook that in the very beginning whenever we did this recipe. That is going to be very important. Unless you like to have rubber shrimp, that's totally optional. That's what you want, and that's what you get. But most people don't want that. So make sure that you, oh shit, I ripped off the Ziploc. Oh, ripped off the Ziploc. Oh well. So, with that being said, everyone, I will be going live here on Sunday. Let me know if you're gonna be. Kitty wants to be on camera too, does she? Come on, Kitty. Oh, she's cracking. Wow. You want to talk about arthritis? This girl's over here cracking. She's over here cracking and doing her thing. So, next week we're gonna be making pet-friendly foods. So we're going to be making cat and dog friendly treats or cat and dog friendly food. So she's going to be happy because now it's actually going to be for her. But let me know in the chat what animal you have. I'm gonna be asking everybody. Oh, thank you for much for everything. Not a problem. So we got her. She's yep. We're gonna be making her some food. So let me know if you have a cat or a dog or a hamster or a gerbil or whatever. We're going to try to make some animal-related food. So that should be a fun time. What are you seeing up here, Kitty? You seeing anything? Yeah? You're just chilling? Interesting. You have 3 cats. Oh, so they're really going to love it next week. They're really going to love it. And see, for her, since she has diabetes, they say that what we should be giving her is wet food all the time, right? And so what are you going to do, right? You have 3 cats. But if you have any dogs, you have any cats, she's going to like it. So look at her being like a little camera hoe. Get out of here, girl. You're taking up all the limelight. All right. Well, by all means, I will see you on Sunday, this Sunday, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., yoga and Pilates. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment Jamba for the recipe. I'm going to send the... If you're coming in late, I'm going to put it back on my stories, and you can comment on my stories. But other than that, everyone, thank you for tuning in for our Food Friday, and